ChatGPT uses Kenyan workers on $2 an hour to come up with its algos. Wait, what?
The creators of ChatGPT used Kenyan workers that were paid less than $2 an hour. Let's talk about it. The current version of ChatGPT can generate text on almost any topic.
Bro, let me tell you something, okay? I mean, this is the least surprising thing. They used Fiverr. Even in the video, they were talking about how they used Fiverr, right? Listen to me. Like, this is another byproduct of, like, releasing AI by capitalists for capitalists under the current capitalist structure. The AI itself used Fiverr, which is, like, also no different than what the fuck this is, right? The humans are not only training the AI to think that that level of, like, exploitation of the global south is, like, totally valid and viable. As a cost-cutting measure, the AI is learning that that kind of, like, profit-seeking behavior is actually good if it's being trained to basically constantly improve profit margins. So, do with that information what you will. Automatically, that's what it's gone towards.
Topic, but its predecessor, GPT-3, was
source a TikTok post. I mean, dude, there's, like, obviously a fucking Time article on it too, but there's a goddamn stupid ass fucking paywall behind it, so I can't read it. ChatGPT works because underpaid workers read about horrible things. The multi-billion-dollar chatbot's parent company reportedly hired a Kenyan outsourcing firm to pay workers less than 2 hours to label hate speech, violence, and more.
Was prone to blurting out violent and extremely graphic remarks. In order to combat this, an additional tool had to be created that would help AI detect hate speech and remove it from their platforms. So, OpenAI sent thousands of pieces of graphic text to be labeled to an outsourcing firm in Kenya. Much of this text came from the darkest parts of the internet. And when I say dark, I mean dark. Data labelers were paid between $1.32 to $2 an hour to read and label hundreds of pieces of extremely graphic content. The nature of the work caused employees extreme distress, and the wellness counselors they were entitled to were often unhelpful or even unavailable. The outsourcing firm did end their contract with OpenAI early out of concerns for the mental health of their employees, but I think it may have something to do with the lawsuit that the firm and Meta are facing for exposing employees to graphic content without...
Yeah, I doubt that lawsuit is anything. Let's be real. They're libbed up, so they realize that, yeah, Facebook has been doing this for years. They're libbed the fuck up. The Supreme Court literally allowed for child slave labor. What are we talking about? Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but, the Supreme Court of the United States basically said it's okay if you outsource child slave labor to the third world. Like, not your fault. You're not directly in control of it. You know what I mean? That's where we're at on that front. So content moderation farms like this are commonplace, common practice. They probably did it because they didn't want to tarnish the reputation of their otherwise, like, libbed up ass product.
Providing adequate support or prior knowledge. AI frequently relies on hidden human labor performed in the global south. These workers support $1 billion.
Yeah, here, Nestle and Cargill win child slavery cases. Supreme Court. This is a real thing that happened, if you recall. 2021. The Supreme Court also, yeah, this is important as well. The Supreme Court also let Chevron foe Donziger, friend of the show, our boy, Steve Donziger's contempt conviction stand. So, if you want to get a better understanding of where the United States Supreme Court is on issues that pertain to labor, both in the United States of America or corporate corruption in general, or labor in the third world that is outsourced to children, yeah, they don't necessarily have a really good fucking attitude on any of this stuff. But hey, maybe we can have 9 AI Supreme Court justices in the future. Yeah. All the liberal Supreme Court justices actually were in favor. 2 members of the Supreme Court's 6-3 conservative majority, Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, dissented from the decision to not hear the appeal, with Gorsuch saying that the Constitution does not tolerate what happened here. So remember that part of it too. So the liberal justices were in favor of this. However much the district court may have thought Mr. Donziger warranted punishment, the prosecution in this case broke a basic constitutional promise essential to our liberty, Gorsuch wrote, which is true. Donziger on Twitter called the Supreme Court's decision to not hear his case a huge blow to the rule of law, which is that you can basically sentence people to permanent prison sentences if you offend the sensibilities, or rather the bottom line, of a megacorporation like Chevron by suing them and winning. Think about that. It's probably one of the worst, it's one of the most significant judicial mishaps, if you want to call it that, of our generation. Private lawyers appointed by a federal judge with ties directly to Chevron handled the case against Donziger, for those of you who don't remember this court case. After the U.S. Justice Department declined to do so, none of the liberal justices found issue with this. And then they basically kept him in captivity. Why? For the crime of successfully suing Chevron for absolutely eviscerating ecosystems in the third world. So specifically in the equator. Ecuador. Shut up. Don't make fun of me for saying the wrong word. English is my second language. Suck my dick. What have you done? Anyway, Equator. Ecuador. Jalapeno poppers. So, most sectors just seem to want AI to exist so they can have free slaves that never sleep, eat, poop, or die. Well, it's not just like it's not just like that. It's also a way to just like squeeze out more profit from the pre-existing workforce. It's wonderful. That's the ultimate goal. Squeezing out more profits from the pre-existing labor force. Streamers can use GPT before doing anything dumb. You are my marketing and public relations assistant. Brainstorm ideas where I can stream highly addicting online casino or slot gameplays for 20 hours a day to my 12 to 23-year-old audience without getting any scrutiny. Okay, well, that's bullshit. You're fired, ChatGPT, because you told me not to do that. Fucking AI is woke.